Top 10 Best Rolex Watches of All Time. Let's start by looking at Rolex. The trademark that merely calls for excellence, luxury, and exclusivity is as complex as they come, despite being without a doubt one of the most recognizable and well-known in the world and unquestionably the most well-known watch brand. Each Rolex has a unique place in the vast collection of the company, with a variety of features and aesthetics. What Rolex watches do we consider to be the best, then? In this video we have done all the hard work for you by researching 10 best Rolex watches worth buying in 2022 and beyond. 10. Rolex Submariner. Any diver should own a Rolex Submariner because it is a sign of discovery and triumph. The Submariner was the first watch to be waterproof to 330 feet when it made its debut in 1953. More subsequent versions' Oyster cases have undergone subtle changes that make them waterproof to a depth of 1,000 feet. The watch's wide, luminous hour markers make it simple to read in the dark. The Submariner is one of the most recognizable and sought-after Rolex models to this day because to its graduated rotating Serichrome bezel and Oyster bracelet, which give it a classic appearance. 9. Rolex GMT Master II. The Oyster Perpetual GMT Master II in Oyster steel with a Jubilee bracelet. This model features a black dial and a two-color Serichrome bezel insert in red and blue ceramic. Designed to show the time in two different time zones simultaneously during intercontinental flights, the GMT Master II has come to be recognized for its robustness and versatile appearance. In addition to conventional hour, minute and seconds hands, the GMT Master II features an arrow-tipped hand, which circles the dial once every 24 hours, as well as a bidirectional rotatable 24-hour graduated bezel. The distinctively colored 24-hour hand displays the home reference time in a first time zone which can be read on the graduations on the bezel. The traveler's local time is easily set by jumping from hour to hour, thanks to an ingenious mechanism operated via the winding crown. The hour hand can be adjusted forwards or backwards independently of the minute and seconds hands. This allows travelers to adapt to their new time zone without affecting the precision of their timekeeping. 8. Rolex Explorer II. The Rolex Explorer has a stainless steel Oyster band, making it both fashionable and durable. It also includes a self-winding mechanism for optimal simplicity, a stainless steel case, and a white dial for unrivaled clarity and dependability. Stainless steel fixed bezel with 24-hour markings to differentiate between day and night. This watch is certainly befitting of the Explorer title thanks to its shaped markings and luminous hands. The watch is wonderful for swimming since it is water resistant, but you need be careful not to dive deeper than 100 meters because even the most eager explorer would find it challenging. Of course, the watch is a beautiful luxury watch in and of itself. 7. Rolex Day Date. Many were surprised by this classy dayability dates to display both the current date and the exact day it was when it was first released in 1956. The watch is now offered in a number of designs, including 18K yellow gold. The clock is referred to as the President bracelet because of its aristocratic connotations. The traditional wristwatch's 40 mm diameter case has a fluted gold bezel. It also has a champagne-colored dial with hour markings and hands studded with diamonds. This chic and refined watch is powered by a self-winding 3255 caliber movement. Many strong men now regard this gorgeous watch as their go-to Rolex due to its high degree of refinement and comfort. 6. Rolex Sky Dweller. Rolex presents an 18CT yellow gold version of its Oyster Perpetual Sky Dweller, fitted with an Oyster Flex bracelet. The watch is the first in the classic category to include this innovative bracelet made of high-performance elastomer. It also features a bright black, sunray finish dial with hands and hour markers in 18CT yellow gold. The light reflections on the case sides and lugs highlight the refined profile of the 42mm Oyster case. An elegant watch for frequent travelers, the Sky Dweller displays the time in two time zones simultaneously and has an annual calendar. The reference time, in 24-hour format, is shown via an off-center disc, and the local time is read using conventional center hands. The annual calendar, named Ceres, automatically differentiates between 30 and 31-day months. It is operated by a patented mechanism and stands out for its innovative display. The months of the year are indicated in 12 apertures around the circumference of the dial, with the current month marked in red. The instantaneous date change is linked to the local time. 5. Rolex Yachtmaster. The Yachtmaster Datejust designs were motivated by Rolex's intimate ties to sailing and open sea. Yachtmaster was created in 1992 as an homage to Rolex's history of sailing. Just a few years after the initial model debuted, women's versions were first released in 1994. The accurate timing of a race is made possible by the programmed countdown and exact synchronization provided by the Rolex Yachtmaster II racing chronograph. The bezel, pushers, and overall appearance of the timepiece are all influenced by racing boat winches. 4. Rolex Air King. Unknown to many, Rolex was first established in London before moving to Geneva in the 1920s. Rolex was aware of this when they introduced the Air King in 1945 to honor British World War II airmen. It was intended to be read when flying at great altitudes, and it was one of the few Rolex models that hadn't altered in size since it was initially launched. Despite the fact that this functionality is probably not very useful nowadays, the watch's eye-catching black-on-white display and intricate numerals make it incredibly attractive and functional. Another benefit is that it is an Oyster Perpetual, making it one among the most reasonably priced Rolex models. As a result, the Rolex Air King is one of the more popular Rolex timepieces. 3. Rolex Oyster Perpetual. The Rolex Oyster, the first water-resistant watch ever released in the world by Rolex in 1926, is the model upon which Oyster Perpetual is based. The Oyster Perpetual is the most plain and fundamental Rolex watch, and it only has one goal: showing the time precisely and clearly. The Oyster Perpetual is distinguished by its self-winding perpetual movement in addition to its look. There is no need to wind the watch because of the perpetual motion mechanism developed by Rolex in 1931. Because of its timeless design, it is a real classic. 2. Rolex Daytona. One of the most popular collections is Rolex's steel Daytona. There have been stories of queues that are more than 10 years long. This wasn't always the case, though. Even though it was a very long time ago, the Rolex Daytona used to be discounted and kept on the shelf of the watch shop. Now, you'd be lucky to find one from an authorized dealer and pay more than twice what it would normally cost. The greatest tool watch is this one, according to those who enjoy driving fast. Due to its 3 subdials, you won't regret buying one of these for your collection. 1. Rolex Datejust. A watch that has withstood the test of time and is a real classic is the Rolex Datejust. The Datejust wristwatch made its debut in 1945 and was the first to include an automatic changing date feature. It had a date bubble over the date display. The Rolex Datejust's flawless design, practicality, and mechanics have served as a template and a source of inspiration for innumerable other watches. On the other hand, the Datejust is universally recognized as the most significant watch in horology history. Conclusion. By now, you should be aware that Rolex watches continue to be in high demand for many years, if not decades, after they are initially released. As a consequence, there is always a Rolex on the market in Saudi Arabia that suits your preferences, style, and budget. It's safe to say that Rolex has something for everyone, whether you're curious about the inner workings of complex watches or just want a luxurious watch to treasure for years to come. The company has maintained its status as the most recognizable watchmaker in the world for the past 100 years. I will leave a link in the description below in case you want to get your hands on one of these timepieces. Thanks for watching.